Hi everyone, so today we're gonna implement the filter and search based on the genre, tags, and sort bytes. And this is gonna be the final part of the series. And I hope you guys enjoy the series so far. And let's get started coding this filtering feature. Okay, back in my VS Code. So let's open the GameList.render.tsx. So I'm gonna put the GameFilter component gonna be inside this GameList component. So I'm gonna add the GameFilter component here, and I need to wrap this inside a React fragment, otherwise it's gonna complain. And right now we don't have the GameFilter just yet. We're gonna add it in. We're gonna add it in next few minutes. And just do a placeholder import here, and back into this component folder, I'm going to create a new folder called game filter. And in this game filter, what we're going to do is we're going to define 4 select tag in it. First thing first, we need to do the import React from React. As always, when you do a TSX file, this import is the must. And I'm gonna do a game filter component, but before that I'm gonna declare the props type for this component, and the only props that we need here is the onChange. So basically every time we select different tag or genres, the onChange is gonna be executed, and that's gonna record the values that we choose in those select boxes, and then the page gonna subsequently make a request based on the state that we choose from the select boxes. This is gonna be a change event html form element. Okay, so I'm gonna destructure this onChange from the props. Then it's gonna return a markup. Right, and export this component. Okay, now we need to implement the markup. So for this, we're gonna wrap all the select boxes inside a form element. This is just for semantic sake. So this is gonna help with a screen reader, and also is a semantic way in HTML to organize the select box inside a form element, even though we don't really submit the data. And then we're gonna do a label, and in this label we're gonna say HTML4. So this is a platform select box. So basically the platform only have 2 values, PC or web browser. Give it a label, and then we start with the select box. So the select name can be platform, and the ID that HTML4 here refer to can be a platform select. And also I'm gonna import a bunch of constants that I predefined. Right now the constants file not exist yet, but I'm gonna create it. So I'm gonna create the constant file. Now in this constant file, I'm gonna copy and paste the value that I have created. So basically in the platform, we have array object value and display pairs. So the value gonna be the value every time we have an onChange event happen. The value gonna be the value that we take in to our state, and the display basically just a text we display to the user to see. So I'm gonna import the platform here and do a platform map platform return a JSX, which is in here we just show the options available. So for the key we gonna do a platform dot value for now, and also the value is the platform dot value as well. And in here we're gonna say the platform dot display. Right, so basically the display here gonna be displayed as a text into the browser, but the value that we every time a user selects this option gonna be this value. I hope that makes sense. And now we have this, and we can go back to run the YANDEV yet. So we gonna run YANDEV now, and hopefully everything works fine. Okay, so we have a select box right here. So that's all good. And I'm gonna do exactly the same thing for genre, tags, and sort by. So basically I'm gonna copy all of this. And I'm gonna change the name to genre. This is gonna be genre. Yeah, all of these is gonna be exactly the same. Okay, this is gonna be a tag. And this is gonna be a sort by, I believe. Okay, so now we go back to our browser. We can see we have 4 of these selects. Right, I hope that makes sense. Now we go back to our code. So right now we don't have the onChange implement yet, so we're gonna implement them now. We're gonna implement it now. So right here, I'm gonna say for game list, we're gonna declare a onFilter change handler. I'm gonna grab this function and I'm gonna pass it down here. Right, so this onFilter change prop is gonna come from the game list container. So in this GameList container, I need to declare a new state to store all the filter value. And the default value for the filter can be platform browser. I'm just use this default value on the first render. Okay, so right now we don't have a filter type declared just yet. So I'm gonna declare the type now. Okay, right here, export con field export type filter equal platform. What else? We genre, which is optional. By default, we're going to display every game regardless of genre. Also, the tag is optional as well. And the last thing is sort by. So come down here, import filter. Right, so we have the type ready, and down here we have to create a on filter change, and cons on filter change. Use callback. I use callbacks to memo this function, so every time the GameList component re-render, it doesn't create a new instance of onFilterChange method, because on this method we basically just set the state into this GameList component states, and if nothing refers to those filter state variable, then don't create a new instance of this method, because every time a new instance of this method is created, the child component gonna be re-render. We just want to avoid the unnecessary re-render. So this is gonna take a function that return something and then a dependency array. So here is basically the change event form elements as we've seen before. So what we're gonna do with this? So basically we just set filter and current. I'm gonna use a method set state here. This is alternative form of set state. Basically, we have a current state, and we want to derive from the current state. Every time filter change event happen, I'm gonna spread the current and gonna get the target name. So the event target name gonna be the name here from the select box. So this name is matched with our filter key value right here. So this is convenient way to handle form onChange. So basically you declare an object with the keys value exactly the same as the form name select, the select name here. So you don't have to do a lot of complicated logic just to derive the value to the right key pair value. Okay, so we have this, and lastly The reason I'm using this type of set state is because set state is actually asynchronous operation. So by doing this, you can avoid any unwanted side effects. In fact, I have a video on this topic in my YouTube channel. You can find out by look at the all videos I posted so far. And I'm not going to explain it here, so let's go and find that video if you have time. And I'm going to pass the onFilter change. Right, so this is going to go into here. And you'll notice also the e-target value is also come from the value passing here. So now we have the filter state ready, but we haven't fixed this useFetch to fetch the data. So basically the params here. So basically the params of this request gonna based on the filter value here, right? So what I'm gonna do is I'm gonna move this useFetch to a common hook, because right now this component look a little bit complicated. So I'm gonna do it now, move it to a hooks, custom React hooks. So in this, I create a new folder called useFetch. So in this useFetch, I'm gonna declare the implementation of it. So I'm not gonna declare the type for response. Games and error, and we have to import the type. We have to import the type for games. Okay, and import the type for okay, so we have the type of filter, response. Now we need the implementation of this useFetch. So basically I'm gonna cut all of this, and I'm gonna paste it here. Right, so this import the right API host and key. However, if we look at here, this component doesn't need this constant file anymore, because we just move all the async fetch to the useFetch hook. So we're gonna move this constant file down here, and back here, and we're gonna remove all the unused imports. And back to useFetch. Where's the use? We just do right. So we're gonna move this up. This also needs to be up. Okay, so this all set up for us. And in this useFetch, we gonna first we're gonna destruct all of these from the params, and in the params in the request we're gonna replace it with all of these. In the request it's like category param, not the genre, so we need to remap it to category. And sort by is also need to be remapped to sort dash by. So that's all good. And in this dependency array, I'm gonna copy all of this because we use this variable in here, so that's a dependency we need to specify. And then we just return games error. And we're gonna export this custom hook. Okay, so our definition for the useFetch is basically done. And we go back here, we're gonna import this useFetch from hooks / useFetch, and we're gonna get the value from useFetch. Error. Yeah, so basically that's pretty much done. Into the form element. Now if we go back here and test our implementation, you see it works now. Right, so everything works perfectly. Now we're gonna do a styling for this GameFilter. I'm gonna create a styles.tsx, and I'm gonna import style. So I'm gonna style the form element first. So I'm gonna make the display flags, because display flags got the advantage of when you have these four and we want it to have a same equal width. So we can use flex and then flex basis in the flex item as a 25%. That's gonna make the width of all the flex item, which is these four here, these four select boxes, to have it. If it's 25% for each, then each of them gonna have a equal width. Space between, and I'm gonna say the max width is gonna be 542 pixel, and padding 0.16 pixel, margin 24 pixel top and bottom, and auto for left and right, just to center this form in the page. And color can be secondary text color. Box sizing, order box. and we gonna import this. Now go back to your browser. You see this something happen here. So basically the styles are working, and we're gonna do the same, similar to this label tag. So for the label, I'm gonna use inline block. But actually, we don't need that. Just do match and right. 16 pixel. Flex basis 25%. So each of the flex item gonna have the same width and last of type. For the last flex item, for the last select box, we don't want any margin right. Okay, so now if you go back to your browser, yep, so it looks a lot better now. Yep, so it's got all the equal width there. And lastly, we're gonna style this select here. Select style dot select with 100%, margin top 0, color of the text is white, and I'm gonna give a background color. Okay, let's go back. Now you can see it looks a lot better now. Pretty cool, yeah. Now we need to handle different screen size, so that's gonna be easy. I'm gonna copy and paste the width. Okay, I just put in some breakpoints that basically change the max width of the form. I actually forget one thing, that I haven't used this select, and things looks a little bit weird on this because everything is out of place. So now I'm gonna put it in here. So you go back, so things look a little bit nicer now. So that's pretty much it for this building gaming website series. And in this series, I think you have learned how to set up a project and configure it with Babel, style components, and webpack, and static asset loading with webpack as well. And I think this series cover all the basics of React, and you learn how to use style components in React, and how style component loading CSS, and also how to use those important hooks like useFetch, useState, and useCallback, and also learn how to make a custom hook in this project, and a little bit of styling techniques here and there as well. And that's it for this series. I hope you guys like it and learn a lot. And if you really like me to make more on building projects using React and style components, give me a like and thumbs up, and subscribe to the channel for more content. Thank you so much, guys.